All right, that's true. I like that. That's a good way to look at it. It's just good to be here. Almost made it out without getting, permanently crippled by my girlfriend. So that anything's better than being there. So sometimes I just feel like it's kind of like exiting a slap fighting competition. I don't know if you know what slap fighting is. It's the dumbest thing. It's people sit up opposite each other, take turns slapping each other in the face, which is really ridiculous. It's really dumb. It's an actual sport, so you take turns hitting each other, and then there's a knockout if one guy falls off the stool, and they should all be slapped for participating in such a ridiculously stupid sport. And you could probably go to a bar and see the same thing. Someone knocked off a stool. Same thing. But that's like kind of my house, getting out of my house. But tonight it was, she didn't give me too much hard time. So that's a relief. And she reminded me, though, of I'm seeing my brother this weekend, which... Yeah, it's good. It's all right. It's all right. Better than my girlfriend. So at least that's one way to look at it. There's always a bright side. And although seeing my brother is sometimes difficult, he doesn't pass up any opportunity to tell me how awful I was to him when he was a kid. Every single time it's the same thing. I would beat him relentlessly, unforgiving. And probably traumatized him completely, beat him all the time at Nintendo all the time. That was terrible. But no, really, the worst thing I ever did, honestly, was I'd buy him gifts I liked, actually. And by default, I would get his gifts. So essentially, I was buying gifts for myself. That wasn't very nice. But there are worse things I did. I never told him he was adopted. But I said, there's a good chance you are. I have no proof of this, but, take a look at the record someday. And, when you get old enough, you'll understand what disowned means. Disown, and then I explained. He was little, so I'd say disown means they essentially they give you back, and they give you back. And, but honestly, I mean, I was a pretty good brother. Well, I just had when I was 8 or 9, sometimes you hear things that you're not sure about. You think they're real, you think they're true or not. So I really honestly thought if you threw someone in a pool, they would learn how to swim. And that was really a legitimate thing and I had no intention of hurting my brother. I wanted to teach him how to swim. But what I learned quickly is how to try to save my brother. I learned that pretty fast. But lucky when I threw him in the pool, he wasn't in the deep end, so I wasn't terrible. I could have thrown him in the deep end. That would have been awful. But it happened to be that my grandma was with us and she saw it and she ended up jumping in to rescue my brother. So got him out. He was crying. I felt terrible. And then, I tried to apologize to Grandma, and she just said, wait till I get home. And she said, you're not getting any of my cookies ever again. And then later that day, I didn't get any of the cookies, but my mom came home and slapped me in the face for she's trying to drown my brother, she said. I didn't. All right, I was, but but it's, it hasn't eaten me up all day, but a lot of things, I swear, things only happen to me. Honestly, last week I mentioned it. I was driving, I was coming up to a stoplight. Just before I got there, I sneezed and my foot hit the gas instead of the brake. I went right through the light. The motorcycle cop was right there, flagged me down and pulled me over, which more like walked over, walked over. Usually a cop, he's like rolled down the window. I said, he's like, well, you know what just happened back there? And to myself, I was thinking, back there, this was 5 seconds ago, 10 feet away, back there. Like, do I have a bad memory? But of course, I'm being the polite guy I am. So I said, I went through the red light. That's what I did. And he's like, he looked at me in this way, like he almost broke cop character for a second, because, he looked at me, he's puzzled. And he didn't say a word, and then walked up back to his car, rated in probably that there's this idiot who just, I don't know. I thought he was going to give me the biggest ticket, there was. Somehow he put in evading arrest somehow, because I was, I don't know how, but he'd get that. Comes over, gives me a ticket, and I look at it. He says, in all my years of law enforcement, I have never heard that before, ever. And he said, whether you're right or wrong, it's entertaining to me. And he's like, go. So I went, and it was a warning, and I was relieved. I was really relieved, because I didn't have to cry this time. But I was ready to do it. I was ready. I was prepared to do it. Whatever it took to get out of a ticket, I was willing to do. I appreciate you all listening. Thank you. You can find me in Lee.Schwartz. Shorts. S-C, like shorts. S-H-O-R-T-S. Shorts. Shorts, like shorts. Guess I can spell.
There you go.
Barely, but I can. Yep.
I'm going to watch you.
Dot 585, backwards and forwards. It's not done yet. Don't walk away. Dot